Well, call me underdeveloped, but I'd like to hear more.
Me too.
More.
Next question.
You realize this is an invitation to men in white suits with happy pills.
That raises an interesting question, John. Could there be others like you who escaped the aging process as you have?
Representing something terrific we don't even know about biology.
Learning all the time.
Yeah, but how would he know? He doesn't wear an armband, an ID badge, saying yabba dabba doo.
There was a man in the 1600s that I met.
Where were you in 1292 AD?
Where were you a year ago on this date? Anyway, the 1600s, I met a man and I had a hunch that he was like me, so I told him.
Ah, see, you said this was a first.
I forgot.
A crack in your story, John?
A touch of senility. Anyway, he said yes, but from another time, another place. We talked for 2 days. It was all pretty convincing, but we couldn't be sure. We each confirmed what the other said, but how did we know if the confirmation was genuine or an echo? I knew I was kosher, but I thought, maybe he's playing a game on me. You know, a scholar of all we spoke about. He said he was inclined to the same reservation.
Oh, that's interesting. Just as we can never be sure, even if we wanted to. I mean, if we were sure, you couldn't be sure of that.
We parted, agreeing to keep in touch. Of course, we didn't. And 200 years later, I thought I saw him at a train station in Brussels. Lost him in the crowd.
Oh, what a shame.
Are you religious, John?
I don't follow a known religion, no.
Ever?
Long time ago, I did. Like most people. Some just never get over it.
Do you believe in God?
As Laplace said, I have no need of that hypothesis. He may be around, though.
And creation.
It's here. I'm not so sure it was created.
Well, it's a very old question, but there's no answer except in religious terms. If you have faith, it's answered.
Did you ever meet any person from our religious history? A biblical figure?
In a way.
Who?
We should skip this one.
No, skip it. Come on.
And the next question.
No, come on.
Come on, John. You can't let this go.
Come on, spit it out.
Good Lord, you were one of them.
This is going in a direction that I didn't expect. I hoped it wouldn't. We call it a night.
Come on. You were someone in religious history?
Yes.
In the Bible?
Yes.
Someone we know?
How could we not know someone in the Bible?
I mean, somebody important.
Well, you may think you know him, but it's mostly myth.
The entire Bible is mostly myth and allegory with maybe some basis in historical events. You were part of that history?
Moses.
Moses was based on Mysis, a Syrian myth. And there are earlier versions, all found floating on water. A staff that changed to a snake. Waters that were parted so followers could be led to freedom and even receive laws on stone or wooden tablets.
One of the apostles.
They weren't really apostles. They didn't do any real teaching. Peter the fisherman learned a little more about fishing.
How do you know that?
The mythical overlay is so enormous and not good. The truth is so simple. The New Testament in 100 words or less. You ready?
I don't think I want to hear this, Harry. Will you take me home?
No, not right now. I do want to hear this.
Sit down, Edith. You act like you believe him.
It's sacrilege.
How can it be sacrilege? He hasn't said anything yet.
The New Testament is sacrilege.
There have been a dozen New Testaments. From Hebrew to Greek to Latin to Tyndale, all the way to King James. All revisionist and all called revealed truth.
I mean, a New Testament in 100 words.
I can give you the 10 Commandments in 10 words. Don't.
Don't. The commandments are just modern updates of more ancient laws and Hammurabi's code.
That's right. And they weren't the first, right? Edith, I was raised on the Torah, my wife in the Quran. My oldest son is an atheist. My youngest is a Scientologist. My daughter is studying Hinduism, I imagine that there is room there for a holy war in my living room. But we practice live and let live. Why don't you sit down? All right, John, hit us with the short form.
Guy met the Buddha, liked what he heard, thought about it for a while. Say 500 years while he returned to the Mediterranean. Became an Etruscan, seeped into the Roman Empire. He didn't like what they became, giant killing machine. He went to the Near East thinking, why not pass the Buddha's teachings on in a modern form? So he tried. One dissident against Rome. Rome won. The rest is history. Well, sort of. A lot of fairy tales mixed in.
I knew it. He's saying he was Christ.
Oh, no. That's the medal they pinned on Jesus to fulfill prophecy.
The crucifixion.
He blocked the pain, as he had learned to do in Tibet and India. He also learned to slow his body processes down to the point where they were undetectable. They thought he was dead. So his followers pulled him from the cross, placed him in a cave. His body normalized as he had trained it to. He attempted to go away undetected, but some devotees were standing watch. He tried to explain. They were ecstatic. Thus I was resurrected, and I ascended to Central Europe to get away as far as possible.
You don't mean a word of this, John. My God, why are you doing this?
Let me see your wrists.
I don't scar. Besides, they tied me, but nails and blood make better religious art.
All the speculations about Jesus.
The Christ figure goes all the way back to Krishna. Hercules, of course.
Hercules?
Born of a virgin, Alcmene. A god for a father, Zeus. The only begotten. Savior, the Greek, Soter. The good shepherd, the Prince of Peace, bringing gentle persuasion and divine wisdom. He died, joined his father on Olympus 1,000 years before Gethsemane.
How can you compare pagan mythology to the true word?
Pretty damn closely, I'd say.
The early Christian leaders, they threw away Hebrew manuscripts and borrowed from pagan sources all over the place. Taken alone, the philosophical teachings of Jesus are Buddhism with a Hebrew accent. Kindness, tolerance, brotherhood, love, a ruthless realism, acknowledging that life is as it is, here on earth, here and now. The kingdom of God, meaning goodness, is right here, where it should be. I am what I am becoming. That's where the Buddha brought it.
And that's what I taught. But a talking snake made a lady eat an apple, so we're screwed. Heaven and hell were peddled so priests could rule through seduction and terror, save our souls that we never lost in the first place. I threw a clean pass. They ran it out of the ballpark.
This is blasphemy. It's horrible. Who else were you? Solomon, Elvis, Jack the Ripper?
It's been said that Buddha and Jesus would laugh or cry if they'd known what was done in their name.
And if there is a creator, probably feel the same way.
I see ceremony, ritual, processions, genuflecting, moaning, intoning, venerating cookies and wine. And I think, it's not what I had in mind.
That's Vatican flapdoodle. It doesn't have a thing to do with God.
As you said, John, everywhere religions, from exalting life to purging joy as a sin. Rome does it as grand opera. A simple path to goodness needs a supernatural roadmap.
Supernatural.
A stupid word. I mean, anything that happens within nature, whether we believe it or not.
Like a 14,000-year-old caveman.
I drove for a while, and then I sat for a while. I'm so ashamed. And I'm freezing.
Well, come inside.
I still don't believe you, of course. You need help.
Everybody needs help.
Yes, well, some more than others.
It is fascinating, isn't it? A brave attempt to teach Buddhism in the West. It's no wonder he failed. We're not ready for it.
You're talking as if you believed it.
Well, it is possible, isn't it? I mean, anything is possible. Look, we have two simple choices. We can get all bent out of shape intellectualizing or bench pressing logic, or we can simply relax and enjoy it. I can listen critically, but I don't have to make up my mind about anything. Do you think you do?
Well, unfortunately, there's no authorities on prehistory, so we couldn't stop them there.
There are experts on the Bible.
Dream on.
Yeah, that's the lost years of Jesus. He didn't exist until John put on the hat.
I don't believe in angels and the nativity and the star in the east, but there are stories about the childhood of Jesus.
History hates a vacuum. Improvisation, some of it very sincere, fills the gaps. It would have been easy to falsify a past back then. A few words, credulity, time would do the rest.
Now you're talking as if you believed it.
Well, look at the popular myths surrounding the Kennedy assassination in a few short years. You had a conspiracy, mafia, CIA. That's a mystique that'll never go away.
It's always been a small step from a fallen leader to a god.
I don't think anybody will deify Kennedy. We're more sophisticated than that.
We are. We are.
Well, you're finally fulfilling one prophecy about the millennium, John.
What's that?
Here you are again.
You like the fire, John?
Everywhere I've lived, I've had a fireplace. Childhood fixation, I guess. Helps me to feel secure.
There are predators out there.
One thing I didn't pack. I thought I might need it.
Wouldn't Sacre du Printemps be more appropriate?
What?
You got 4 men of science completely baffled, my friend. We don't know what to make of you.
Did you know Voltaire was the first to suggest that the universe was created by a gigantic explosion? Not that Paul would agree. And that Goethe was the first to suggest that spiral nebulae were swirling masses of stars. We now call them galaxies. It's kind of funny how often new concepts of science find their first tentative forms of expression in the arts.
So did Beethoven do physics on the side?
He spent most of his time lying on the floor in front of his legless piano, surrounded by orange peels and apple cores.
Now we're on the floor listening to Beethoven. Full circle.
Did you have, any religious beliefs? Or did you give it much thought?
You can't get there with thought.
You have faith?
In a lot of things.
Do you have faith in the future of the race?
I've seen species come and go. Depends on their balance with the environment.
We've made a mess of it.
There's still time. If we use it well.
Christianity has been a worldwide belief for 2,000 years.
How long did the Egyptians worship Isis or the Sumerians Ishtar? In India, sacred cows wandered freely as reincarnated souls. In 1,000 years, they'll be barbecued and their souls will be in squirrels.
You weren't Jesus.
Oh, yes.
If it rains, you...
It won't.
How do you know that?
I don't smell it.
Were you, I guess, a medicine man?
I was a shaman a few times. I revealed some truths to eat a little better.
You think that's all religion is about? Selling hope and survival?
The Old Testament sells fear and guilt. The New Testament is a good code of ethics, put into my mouth by poets and philosophers that are much smarter than I am. But the message is never practiced. The fairy tales build churches.
What about the name Jesus? Did you pull that out of a hat?
I called myself John. I almost always do. But as tales of resurrection spread, the name was confused with the Hebrew Yohanan, meaning God is gracious. My stay on earth was seen as divine proof of immortality. That led to God is salvation, or Hebrew Yeshua, which in translation became my proper name, changing to late Greek, Jesus, then to late Latin, Jesus, finally medieval Latin, Jesus. And it was a wonder to watch it all happen.
Then you didn't claim to be the Son of God.
It began as a schoolhouse and ended as a temple. I said I had a master that was greater than myself. I never said he was my father. I wanted to teach what I learned. I never claimed to be king of the Jews. I never walked on water. I never raised the dead. I never spoke of divine except in the sense of human goodness on earth. No wise men came from the east to worship at a manger. I did do a little healing with some Eastern medicine I'd learned. That's it.
3 wise men began as a myth about the birth of the Buddha.
John, I should be home kissing my wife. We're all here trapped by her story, hoping for a resolution. I don't know. Are there any more revelations for us?
It's just like old times.
You weren't Jesus.
Quote the Sermon on the Mount.
Which one? Darby, King James, New American Standard?
Do you know them all?
No one knows the one, not even me. I did some teaching on a hill one day. Not that many people stayed. But biblical Jesus said, "Who do you think I am?" He gave them a choice. I'm giving you one.
Were you?
If I said no, could you ever be sure?